and visual skills. Okay, perfect. And before I start, I want to know where we have people from. So you can type in the chat, I mean, where you're joining from. I mean, if you're a therapist, if you're in Florida, wherever you are, we want to know. Also, if you are a parent, that'll be amazing. And the idea of this is not a presentation per se. It's going to look like a presentation, but it's not a presentation per se, because this is a conversation. And hopefully I can get you guys to talk to me and to ask questions, because that's the whole purpose of it. Okay. Anyway, let me see if I have some feedback from anybody. Do we know, Anna, if we have anybody writing in the chat?
Yeah, we have parents from Florida, so welcome, and this is for you.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to start, and my idea of this presentation is to think about the children that you work with, either as a parent or as a therapist. So take a moment, think about them, and let's see how vision plays a role in their development or their learning. I know we may be talking about kids from different age, from 0 to 21. So at every level, we can think, oh, you know, how vision skills impact learning, how vision skills impact function, how vision skills impact their everyday life. Okay. So take a moment, think about a child. Okay. Or think about yourselves. You know, that's another option. So I'm going to give you an example. So I have this fruit here. This is called a star fruit, I believe, right? Very delicious fruit. So think about this fruit for a second. What skills, visual skills, do you need to be able to understand or interact with the subject? Any ideas? You can, you guys can talk, that's fine. Anybody? Any takers? So do I need to track when I see this moving? Do I need to have some type of 3D vision skill that can allow me to understand the subject from a different perspective? So for example, I can see kind of like a star shape when I see it from this end. So think about that. What skills, vision skills, do I need to get there? And why is this important? Because everything relates to learning. So for example, if I have issues understanding this subject in a 3D fashion, obviously my brain is not going to be able to register the object the best way possible. And when my brain is not able to register the best way possible, it makes it hard for my brain to remember. It makes it hard for my brain to understand exactly what is this object for. This is a fruit, but I know I have to eat it. I can eat it. And so imagine this could be with a pencil, but this could be with anything, with a toy. So children, sometimes they don't know how to play with toys. They don't know how to interact with toys because it could be also a problem, a vision skills problem. And the title of this presentation is your child easily distracted? Why? How this example is going to connect with that title. So the reason it connects is because for me to be able to pay attention, I need to be engaged. And to be engaged, I need to be able to see clearly and to process clearly. And that's the key. That's how OT, for example, in this case, I'm going to talk a lot about OT because I'm an OT. We play a definitive role in helping children to improve their perception skills. Okay. And again, when I talk about perception skills, what I'm talking about here is visual closure. For example, we said that's one of the skills. And my ability to track is another skill. It's everything that relates to perception. How I access the information from my environment so I can interact. Give me just a second. I have another example. All right. So we have not only that, we have other things like position in space, where this this fruit is in space. I need to be able to look and to use my eyes to understand where in space is this fruit. The other one will be vision closure, figure ground, depth perception, meaning how far it is, if it is close or far. And spatial relationships like topographical orientation. So knowing how we can find the subject when the subject is not straight in front of us. So this just are examples how vision can help us. Now, let me see, Anna, do we know what type of, what we do have here? More parents, or even on Facebook? Is a parent? Okay, we have parents here.
We have
okay.
parents, yeah.
I would like to know from the parents, because I want to be very specific. From the parents that we have, if I can get the age of your child, the age of your children. So because I want to be specific, I like to be specific. 6, okay, we have 6 years old. Thank you for sharing. Okay. Okay, let's play with the example of 6 years old. So we have, usually I like to play from 0 to 1, 2 to 3, and 5 to 6 to 7. That's fine. I like that range. Okay, let's talk about 6. So how can we help a child that is having issues with attention, improving those skills, the attention skills? If those skills are related to vision, we definitely can work on that, okay? So I just want to make a distinction here. There are different areas when therapy is present, when the optometrist is present, optometry and the ophthalmologist is present. So I wanna explain that distinction. So the optometrist is the one that is going to help us maybe getting some glasses if the child has some specific things that relate to the vision, to the clarity of the vision, okay? To being able to actually see, right? So that's what optometrists and ophthalmologists are going to do. I mean, this is a very small example. Therapists, we work in the perception part. Because one thing is what you see, one thing is what you process. For example, if this image goes to my brain, just to give you an example, this is not perfect science, but I'm going to try to explain how it works. So the optometrist will tell you, okay, the information is going to go all the way here. And from here to the brain, to the part of the brain where the information is processed, is where maybe the ophthalmologist, or and in this case, the occupational therapist can help you, or can help your child to understand what they see. Because for me, I'm clear this is a fruit because I understand what it is. I can smell it, I can eat it. So I know, but in many cases, children don't know exactly how things are just because the perception, how they understand their world is not clear. It's not clear like you or me or the parents that are present here. So keep that in mind. I know it's a little bit complex, but the nervous system is complex. Just I'm trying to put it in simple words. So what do we need to understand in that case? So if perception, therapists, we work on perception, the way the perception exists is through the sensory input, meaning that we get information from our environment. This is a fruit, this is a bottle of water, this is a paper. That's what is in my environment. These objects around here are objects in my environment, okay? I need to interact with them, so I need to be able to see them to have a reaction, okay? So that's the whole purpose of this, okay? To have a reaction. So going to more information, let me go to the next one. Next slide. Let's start the presentation here. So when we talk about attention, imagine if a child is not able to process the information very well. So attention is not going to be there. So usually that's why the first option that we have is like you go to the optometrist. The optometrist will tell you, no, you know what, everything looks good. The child is able to see. I just tested. Maybe the child is 3 to 6 years old. Everything looks good. What's the next step? Maybe you go to an occupational therapist or even a physical therapist. And we might recommend a developmental optometrist. Okay, developmental optometrist is the one that is going to be more specific about development. Okay, it's very different. A regular optometrist from the developmental optometrist. That's a highly recommended visit that a parent should do if the parent is thinking that there's something in any problem with vision skills and processing. Remember, the big word here is processing, understanding the information and being able to use it to react in your environment, okay? Now, we use this presentation a lot for different things, but I want to come here, okay? Where is attention? Okay, so the whole purpose of being able to attend is like what is happening to you guys right now. Right now, you're able to pay attention because your system is regulated. You guys are quiet, just like Anna. I know Anna is the only one that is in the picture now, but she's quiet. She's able to pay attention. There is not a tiger in the room that she's going to be all over the place. So one of the goals of therapy is to help your system, the chemistry of your body, to create attention. And it's a point of balance. For example, if my adrenaline is all over the place and in a fight or flight reaction, then I'm going to be all over the place. My attention is going to be off. And from that point, all the different neurotransmitters that we have in our system and our brain, our chemistry, are going to be completely off. So attention is going to be very difficult, okay? So keep that in mind. So Alex, why are you talking about neurotransmitters with the sensory system and you're talking about vision? How things come together? They all work together. If a child is not able to see well, when the child is maybe is walking or running or playing with another child or in the classroom, the system, the chemistry of the system will say, you know what, this is not safe. It's all about safety. You know, think about what the things that we need to live in life. We need balance, to have balance, physical balance, to have air, and to be able to control our feeling of safety. When we feel unsafe, we're not able to pay attention. So when my chemistry is not the correct chemistry that I need to be able to function, that's not helping my system to be regulated, to be able to pay attention, okay? So it's a complete connection from the visual system. So the visual system is connected with the perception, is gathering information, perception, and the chemistry of your body. Everything needs to be working because let's say I'm paying attention to the board, like I have here. But my system is, I feel unsafe. I'm not gonna be able to pay attention. So I might think that it's a vision problem, but maybe it's not. It's a problem related to the chemistry of your body, okay? So I'm giving you different areas how it's not only vision, how vision, it could be impacted by the chemistry of your body as well, okay? Again, this topic is for me, I think it's very complex because it has so many variables. And that's what I want to make sure that you guys understand. There is not only one thing. I want to make sure that you guys see different angles of a problem, not just one angle, okay? Because that's what usually happens. Sometimes we go and we take the child to the optometrist, they gets glasses, and all of a sudden we think that, okay, it should be resolved. Maybe there is other things that we need to be paying attention, okay? So keep that in mind. Why is that important? Look at this. This is a very complex picture that we have here in front of us. This is we have different names. Let's go, we call it performance pyramid. And basically this pyramid, what it's telling me is that from the bottom, let me see if I can hear, from the bottom here, this part here is the base of everything, okay? It's the base of how we function, the base of how we think, how we react, how we move, okay? So when we talk about, in therapy, we talk a lot about reflexes. And in this case, I'm going to try to emphasize the vision reflexes, okay? We have many different reflexes, many different. So for example, when you go to the doctor and the doctor uses a hammer and hits you in the knee, then automatically you move your knee, right? So the doctor is going to do that to make sure that your nervous system is working properly, right? But we have more reflexes. We have many more reflexes. For example, at the level of the eye, we have reflexes such as the corneal reflexes, vestibulo-ocular reflexes, oculocephalic reflexes. I mean, there is a bunch of reflexes. And how do we get to work on those reflexes? Think about for a second. Any ideas? So, and I know you're thinking, and that's why you're not answering, guys. But let's keep it. Let's keep the target. So imagine that you have a reflex that is not integrated, meaning that it's not working. Imagine if I throw this fruit to your face and you're not able to do like this. This is called the starting reflex. It's gonna save your eyes from injury, right? Imagine if that's not working properly. We need that to work properly so we can interact with the environment in the correct way, okay? So when going back to the pyramid, we have different areas here in the pyramid. So for example, when we start from the bottom up, we have the reflexes. Reflexes is everything that we do as a reflex that we have no control over of that. The other reflex that is very common, so parents understand, is when your children were babies, you will put something close to your mouth and they will try to suck or root towards that object. So they can suck, so they can feed themselves, or they can find the source of food. So that's why they move their mouth, right? So that's fine until when probably they are 6 months old. But imagine if you're like 20, 21, 15, 21 years old, and I put something close to you and start like this. That's not functioning. And that's a reflex that is not integrated. And when it's not integrated, what it's telling me? That is not mature. And when it's not mature, what it's telling me? That my brain at some level is not mature. And I need that maturity to move to the next level, meaning going up, okay? And going up means be able to pay attention, be able to be sitting in a place for a long time, be able to interact with someone without starting running all over the place. So that's why we like to talk about reflexes, okay? And reflexes include the reflexes that impact the eye, okay? So keep that in mind, all right? So we keep talking about this pyramid. So once we are able to tackle or to work on the basic reflexes, we're able to move to the next level, which is the sensory system. So remember, we have different systems. When we go to school, we learned there is 5 different senses. We have more. We had about 8 different senses that we talk about usually in therapy. We have the auditory, tactile, olfactory, gustatory, visual, the one that we're talking about today, proprioception, interoception, and vestibular. They all work in connection. And that's the other point that I want to make here. If I want to work on my eyes and my vision skills, I have to understand that it's not only about that, it's everything goes connected. So to give you an example, and I like to give like a practical example. I'm going to show you actually here. Let's see if I can do this. All right. I have this screen here, right? Imagine if I have a child working here on this platform. If I'm training a child about this object, right? And I'm telling you, oh, look at the shape, looks like a star. The color is kind of like orange, kind of yellowish, and you can smell it because it has good smell, and you can touch it, you can play with it, and you can do many things. Imagine if to that part of the teaching process or the learning process, I add movement. Now, the child is going to be visually, when I'm seeing here, I'm moving here. I'm a therapist, guys, so don't laugh, okay? I do my job here. If I'm learning about this fruit, but I'm in this way. Think about what is happening to my eyes right now. To be able to keep my focus on the actual object, my body is adjusting, and I'm using all my reflexes, the reflex that I mentioned, the oculomotor reflexes, to be able to keep this object in a location that my brain can perceive it, so I can be trained. So basically, you're using the vestibular system or the movement system, the balance system, to learn about an object. That otherwise, if I'm just sitting on this chair, I wouldn't be using the vestibular system the way I'm using it right now. So keep that in mind. That's why when you go to schools and when you go to daycares, when you go to the park, that's where learning should happen. If you can get a book and you can get some activity that relates to whatever they need to learn in the school, and say, that's where you want to do it. You want to have different environments. You don't want to be learning the same environment always. Because when you're learning in this environment that requires movement, now you're using another system. So the idea of learning is that the more systems that we use, the better. So I'm going to give you another example. Just a second. All right. Going back to that. So the other option that I highly recommend where you're helping children using visual skills is to pair it with other systems. Right now, for example, I have this smell. This is basic tangerine smell. So I allow the child, okay, you're going to smell it. I'm going to use the olfactory system. And I use something that they can drink with the same flavor, similar, and the same color. So I'm pairing different situations, different sensory processing activities to help the child learn about something, okay? It doesn't have to be something too complex. I'm just giving you some ideas of what we do in practice with children. So because sometimes the child is more able to learn in one way than a different way. And if I know that the child is having issues with the visual system, I want to help the other systems to take over the visual system to facilitate learning. And that's one of the keys right there, okay? So any questions about that? And probably we have questions about that. And that's not an easy subject, but I'm trying to give you, that's why I want to give examples, because my idea is to help you guys to understand how the child is, if is having vision processing issues, is going to learn. How can we help the child learning? And first thing is movement. It requires movement. Why? Because when I do movement, it requires accommodation of my vision skills. If I'm far and close, it helps my depth perceptions. So everything that has any type of movement is going to be beneficial in that case. Okay. Any parents? I mean, I don't want to go deeper into this because it gets more complex, but I want to hear parents. I want to have a case where we can discuss. Anybody? Anna, anybody have had any questions about or reading information about that?
No question from here, but for example, talking about vision and attention, and with the example of 6-year-old, what is the time that we expect that any child with that age should pay attention in the classroom?
Well, 6 years old, it should be able to pay attention in the classroom. Okay. The idea is, I mean, maybe the question is, if the child is not paying attention, when you compare it to their peers, the level is, we have to start asking questions because we don't know. So that's the thing about this thing. So if you tell me, no, my child is not able to pay attention, or is not able to look at the board and copy whatever the teacher is copying on the board, I don't know if it's visual skills that the problem comes from the visual skills now. I know, I mean, I will have to obviously see the child and do some testing and do some referrals to make sure that we are actually what the real problem is. But even without knowing that, through testing or by seeing the child that is having that issue, I know that my goal is to be able to balance the chemistry. Oh, sorry. Oh, what happened? That's my alarm. Sorry. That chemistry to help the child regulate. So chemistry can be regulated through activity, through different activities that we do in therapy, and that you can do at home. The food intake, whatever they're eating, I mean, can be a factor as well. So is the idea is that when to find the real reason why, and that's the key. And that's very actually that's difficult, because usually you go to the doctor, and if they tell you no, they need glasses, you may think that the glasses are going to resolve the problem, and usually it's not the case. So it depends, and that's why conversations and having conversation about every child and spending enough time with the child to understand what the real reason is, it takes more analysis, and that's that's the key for me. I mean, when you spend time, when you do testing, we do different types of testing for that, because that's part of what we do in therapy, but that's definitely completely a necessity that needs to happen. Because imagine if I'm just giving the child the glasses, and all of a sudden that's not the problem. Maybe the problem is is related to something different, and we don't get to know that until we actually do testing, and that's critical in that part.
Okay, I think that I have another one, just speaking from parents, and we talk about like involve more sensory when we are stimulating vision, but what can we do as parents at home to stimulate vision as well? What strategies we can suggest parents to do that?
Great question. Okay, the first thing is, and I think it's a logical but very difficult thing to do now, is to keep kids away from computer screens, cell phones, laptops, iPads. I mean, that's a difficulty, and that's a problem, because think about this. This is my cell phone. If I'm hours and hours, my eyes are fixated. Okay, my eyes were not designed to be fixated all the time. My eyes were designed to be interacting with the environment. Okay, so that will be one of the first things that I want to do. Okay, the second thing I want to make sure that you guys do is to work and to take your children to the park. Okay, they need to interact with real objects. So for example, again, I come back to the star fruit. If I'm teaching a child about a fruit, let's say this is a difficult fruit, because it's not like, let's think of this as a banana, right? A banana, you can touch it, smell it. You can ask the child to peel it, right? And the child, that's how you learn. You're using all your systems to learn. Okay. Other things that I really recommend is to work in things that require for you to be in all fours. Okay. Basically, in all fours on the floor. I'm going to show you guys exactly what I mean. This is all fours for me. And if I can do my homework, if I can do activities, being on all fours is very important. Why? Because when I do these movements, what is happening is that my eyes are accommodating all the time, and I'm impacting those muscles that I have inside my eyes. Okay. So those are like two simple examples of the things that we could do to work with children. You can do an activity, you can do a puzzle, but the idea is that you don't have to work in just a table. Think about a table. It's just you're only working on one plane. Let's try to put it. Maybe you can use some Velcro and put it on against the wall. For example, I have a board here. I can do activities here using the board, but my board is in front of me, not like this, because this is usually what I see with kids. They writing on the table. let's use a board. Let's try to use Velcro so we can attach things to the board, to the wall, so they can work that way too. Okay. On the floor is also another alternative for that. Okay. So let me see what else I can give you. I mean, I will play games. Everything that relates to physical activity, I think is appropriate. Going to the park, going to the playground, very important. Acceleration movements, and I mean, when acceleration meaning like going fast and slow, that type of thing allows your system, not only your eyes, but also your vestibular system to react. And that reaction is how we learn, okay? How we interact with our environment, okay?
Okay, and also I think that that's very important, because if we stimulate that, the child will be able to copy from the board when they are in a classroom. And here is another question that we have from teachers. It says that one of the challenging situations for teachers or educators is informing parents when we identify issues in children. Often we have them sit in front row to better manage their attention, but even in those cases, it can be quite difficult for them. What can we as teachers do to create a more supportive environment for children with attention and visual delays?
Okay, oh, that's a very complex question, because there are so many variables for that. I mean, I would love to have your email so I can give you more information about that, because it goes back to the pyramid. Very easy, it goes back to the pyramid. To be able to pay attention, imagine attention happens at this level. If you see the pyramid that we have, imagine all the things that need to happen before you can achieve attention. So we need to see exactly what is happening. So usually, let's give you an example. In this clinic, if you see all the walls are empty, it's very plain. Everything is gray, everything is blue, but it's very empty. We don't have anything on the walls. You see? The reason why we do that is because we want to keep the attention of the child one-to-one, focused in whatever we want the attention to be. So that's the critical aspect in the schools. In the schools, sometimes I know my sister is a third grade teacher, and she loves to decorate. And they have so many things, so many decorations they place, that obviously if I have a child that has attention issues, it's going to be harder for the child because it's too many information. Maybe for you or for me, it's okay. But for children, for many children, anything gets their attention. And maybe it's in the unconscious level. Okay, so it's filling up that information. So basically what is going on in their brain is kind of like, think about in a highway. When the highway is Friday, 6 p.m., that highway is full of cars. And you want to go from point A to point B, but a Friday afternoon is just crazy. I mean, it's full of cars. There is too much traffic in the brain, okay? But maybe when there is not so much traffic, maybe Monday, 3 a.m. in the morning, that same route going to point A to point B is completely different. And the information travel back and forth, no problem. And that's where you wanna be. So it's a process of understanding how that child is going to work. I know I'm not giving you the best answer possible because you want something that you can use right away, but I'm telling you where it comes from. Okay, it comes from the brain accessing too much information. So first step, obviously, being close to the board, that's fine. But you need to add, in addition to that, teachers will be to have some what they call sensory breaks, because if there is a traffic jam in the brain, the only way that we know of to relax that brain and to put that brain basically neutral so learning can continue to happen is through movement. And it's regulated by the vestibular system. It regulates everything, movement, everything movement. So it's when we do movement breaks. And for kids with attention problems, kids with special needs, for example, and even regular kids, they need those movement because when they get movement, their system equalizes. Things start to synchronize better because it allows the brain to communicate information faster. and where communication happens. Remember, we have a right and a left brain, right? And there is in the brain, we have a part that is called the corpus callosum, that is the part of the brain that allows communication between right and left. Usually, the problem is around that area, okay? Because the communication gets stuck, and you need that communication to keep moving. And the only way is when you start doing right and left kind of thing, kind of activities, like they call it sometimes brain gym type of activities. So just to give you an idea, let's give it a try. Okay, I haven't done it for a while, but let's try to do this, guys. If you're having a hard time, just look at me. Don't do anything. Just look at me for a few seconds. That activity is very simple, but what that activity is doing is connecting my two hemispheres of my brain, right and left, through the corpus callosum. That activity, simple as it is, that's one of the activities that you can use in your practice, either as a therapist, as a parent, or as a teacher. It's simple. You can ask the child to stand for a second. We're gonna do this 10, 20 times. Now, we refresh, we get new connection, we have more oxygen to your brain, we have the brain start to process information faster, then you can sit down again and continue with your class, okay? So that's a simple activity, but that's what we mean. Sometimes it doesn't have to be a full break that you have to go on to the park, to the research area. No, it's something as simple as that, but you have to do it probably more often. Okay, so brain gym, you can actually Google it, brain gym activities. You'll find a ton of that, and they are very beneficial. Okay, from that perspective, therapy perspective. How are we doing with time, Anna? Sorry, just want to make sure. I want to be mindful. So we have 3 more minutes, I think. Yeah. Any questions? I want to be able to answer some questions. Hopefully that helped what I just mentioned. If you have more specific questions, you can always email me. My email. Oh, do we have an email here? Let me see. In the presentation, maybe just a second. Okay. Share. Okay, it's my computer is not moving. Okay. Oh. Oh, okay, something happened. Oh, all right. I think I can do it here.
Or in the chat box.
Yeah. Okay. No, I don't have the email here with me to show you guys, but we'll I mean, in the chat box. Oh, you should put it in the chat box. So yes, again, I want to thank you guys for taking some time to be with us. I mean, we appreciate your time, and hopefully, I mean, I want to answer as many questions as I can. You can email me if my email is not there. You can, Anna, and I'll write it here. I know is complex, but what we want to do is to start talking about these things. The more you participate, the more that you understand the subject, the better you're going to be able to help the children that you work with. Either if you're a school teacher or a parent or a therapist, we really appreciate this. Any ideas? For example, if you can help us, guys, if you found value in what we did today, please go to Google and you can put a review, and also in that review you can put the what topics do you want us to cover. We have more people and our PT, speech therapists as well, that we can bring to these meetings, and we really want to do something different for the community. And again, if you need more help, my email is there finally. And Don't forget about us. You can Google us, and we're here for you guys. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your help, all the parents. I know it's hard to find time during the day to join these activities, so I'm very happy that you guys did. So everybody have a great day.
Thank you, Alex. Have a good day, everyone.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.